You were not born to live a mediocre life. You were not put on this earth to settle, to survive, or to shrink. You were designed to thrive. You were built with greatness wired into your DNA. But here's the truth. Success doesn't happen by accident. It doesn't show up because you hope for it. It shows up when you program your mind to demand it. Right now, at this very moment, your mind is running a script, a pattern, a set of beliefs, habits, and thoughts that either move you closer to your potential or chain you to your limitations. And here's the hard truth. Most people are running old software. They're operating from fear-based patterns they picked up in childhood from failure, from the opinions of others. They say things like, I'm not good enough. I always mess it up. This is just the way I am. And they wonder why they feel stuck, why they can't break through. It's not because they lack talent. It's because they're trapped in a mental operating system that wasn't built for success. But guess what? Software can be rewritten. Programs can be reinstalled. You can rewire the way you think, the way you feel, and the way you respond to the world around you. You can reprogram your mind for success. And when you do, everything changes. Success starts inside. It begins with the story you tell yourself every single day. What are you rehearsing? Are you rehearsing failure or are you rehearsing victory? Are you focused on what's missing or are you focused on what's possible? The mind is a magnet. What you focus on, you attract. Focus on problems and you create more stress. Focus on solutions and you tap into power. If you want to change your life, you have to train your mind to think differently. And training doesn't happen once. It's not a single moment. It's a daily practice. You have to flood your mind with empowering thoughts, powerful beliefs, and unstoppable standards. You have to condition it with repetition, with intensity, with emotional leverage. When the voice in your head says, I can't, you replace it with, watch me. When doubt creeps in, you anchor yourself in the truth that your potential is limitless. You challenge the beliefs that hold you back and replace them with new ones that pull you forward. Because here's what no one tells you, your beliefs aren't facts. They're not truths. They're just stories you've repeated so many times that your nervous system treats them as real. But you can tell a new story. You can create new beliefs, new patterns, new mental wiring that leads you straight to greatness. Every single day when you wake up, you enter a battlefield. But it's not the kind of war you can see with your eyes. It's invisible, internal, and relentless. It's the war inside your own mind. It's the fight between who you've been and who you're becoming. It's the struggle between fear and courage, between limitation and possibility, between hesitation and action. And here's the truth. If you don't take conscious control of that battlefield, if you don't wake up every day ready to fight for the life you want, then your mind will default to survival mode. It will play old scripts, stuck stories, and tired excuses that keep you trapped exactly where you are. You've got to start every morning like a warrior stepping onto the field. That means you don't wait to see how you feel. You decide how you feel. You don't wait for motivation to strike. You create it. You don't let your mood lead the day. You lead your mood through clarity, intention, and action. The most powerful people on this planet don't leave their mindset to chance. They condition it like an athlete conditions their body. Daily, relentlessly, with discipline and urgency. Your thoughts are not harmless. They're not random noise. They are the architects of your reality. And they're shaping everything. How you speak, how you walk, how you show up, how you lead, how you chase your goals, how you handle rejection, how you recover from failure. That's why you've got to win that mental war before you leave the house, before you check your phone, before the world starts pulling at you from all directions. If you don't win the war inside, the world outside will defeat you before you even take the first step. This isn't just motivation, it's neuroscience. Your brain is constantly wiring itself based on repetition, emotional intensity, and focus. So what are you repeating? What are you focusing on? What emotional states are you training your brain to return to again and again? If you start your day consumed with stress, comparison, fear, and anxiety, your brain will wire those states as familiar, and it will seek to recreate them. That becomes your normal. That becomes your automatic setting. And then you wonder why no matter what changes on the outside, nothing shifts on the inside. But if you flip that script, if you consciously program your mind with gratitude, with belief, with possibility, with vision, then your nervous system begins to rewire itself for growth. Your brain starts searching for opportunities instead of threats. You become calmer under pressure, more decisive, more grounded, more powerful. You stop reacting like a victim and start responding like a leader. This is the level of mental discipline most people never reach. They treat their mindset like a light switch they flip randomly. But true greatness comes from treating your mindset like a muscle. You train it daily. You push it, stretch it, and challenge it to grow stronger. And the more you train, the more automatic it becomes. You begin to notice negative thoughts as intruders, not facts. You catch limiting beliefs in real time and replace them with empowering truths. You don't give your mind the option to dwell in weakness because you've trained it to default to strength. Every time a negative voice whispers, "You're not enough," you fire back with proof of your progress. Every time fear says, "What if you fail?" you override it with, "What if I succeed beyond anything I've imagined?" Every time doubt tries to paralyze you, you remind yourself that courage isn't the absence of fear, it's action in the presence of fear. And you take the step anyway, not because it's easy, not because you feel ready, but because your mindset is aligned with your mission. Winning the mental war is not about being perfect. It's about being prepared. It's about recognizing that the real obstacle isn't out there. It's in here. It's the hesitation, the overthinking, the emotional spirals that pull you off track. And it's knowing that you have the power to override all of it. You are not your thoughts. You are the thinker of your thoughts. You are not your emotions. You are the one who experiences your emotions. And that distinction is everything. Because once you realize that you can observe your inner world, you can start to command it. And when you command your inner world, the outer world starts to bend in your favor. No one wakes up with a winning mindset by default. It's built, earned, conditioned. And it starts the moment you open your eyes each morning. Will you lead your mind today or let it lead you? Will you train it to serve your purpose or allow it to drift into fear? The battlefield is waiting. And the most important victory of your life begins with a single thought. That voice in your head, it never stops talking. It narrates your every move. It judges your every thought. It whispers stories you believed for years. But most people don't even realize it's there, let alone understand the power it holds. Your inner dialogue isn't just background noise. It's the script your mind plays on repeat. And that script is shaping your identity, your confidence, your actions, and ultimately your destiny. If that voice is filled with self-doubt, negativity, and limitations, don't be surprised if your life reflects the same. You can't live a powerful life when the conversation in your head is weak. You've got to take control of that internal voice and reprogram it to speak the language of champions. Think about it. What would happen if you talked to your best friend the way you talk to yourself during your low moments? You'd tear them apart. You'd crush their spirit. And yet, you do it to yourself without even thinking. I'm not good enough. I always mess up. What's the point in trying? These phrases aren't facts, they're patterns. They're habits of thinking that you've practiced so many times, they've become your truth. But here's the truth. You get to write a new story. You get to choose how that voice speaks. And when you upgrade your inner dialogue, you upgrade everything. Start by listening to your self-talk with awareness, not judgments. Pay attention to the words you say when you're stressed, when you fail, when things don't go your way. That's when your real programming surfaces. Are you building yourself up or tearing yourself down? Are you speaking life or speaking defeat? Once you become aware of the patterns, you gain the power to change them. Awareness is the first step to transformation. Now flip the script. When that old voice says, "You're not ready," you respond with, "Why, I'm growing every day and I have everything I need within me." When it says, "You failed before," you say, "And I learned how to rise. That failure became my fuel." When it whispers, "You'll never make it," you roar back, "Watch me." Speak to yourself like someone who's destined for greatness. Speak to yourself like someone who's training for something big, something meaningful, something worth fighting for. Words are more than sounds, they're signals. They're messages that your brain absorbs and believes, and your body follows that belief. You say, "I'm exhausted," your energy drops. You say, "I'm ready," your body rises. Your language doesn't just describe your reality, it creates it. So be intentional with every word. Replace "I hope" with I will. Replace I can't with I'm learning how. Replace someday with now. Your mind is always listening, always recording, always responding. Affirmations are not cheesy. They're powerful programming tools, but they only work if they're backed by emotion, repetition, and belief. Don't just say, I'm confident. Say it with fire. Say it while standing tall, breathing deep, and remembering a time when you really were. Stack evidence behind your affirmations. Remind yourself of wins. Replay moments of courage. Fuel your words with memories that prove your power. That's when they shift from phrases to personal truth. And understand this, the way you speak to yourself becomes the way you handle the world. If your inner dialogue is filled with encouragement, resilience, and certainty, you show up to challenges with a completely different energy. You don't crumble under pressure, you rise. You don't fear rejection, you face it. You don't doubt your worth, you own it. Because the voice in your head is no longer tearing you down, it's lifting you up. You can't control what everyone else says to you, but I can control what you say to yourself. And that's where your power lies. That's where your transformation begins. Because when you start speaking to yourself like a leader, like a champion, like someone who's unstoppable, you have become that person. You step into that identity. You align your mind with your mission, and everything around you begins to change as a result. It's not about pretending you have no fears. It's not about lying to yourself or living in delusion. It's about telling the truth, this real truth, that you are capable, you are evolving, and you are not here to live a life ruled by insecurity. You are here to lead, to grow, to impact, to become the fullest expression of who you were born to be. And it starts with the words you whisper when no one else is listening. Those whispers become your world. So speak with intention. Speak with courage. Speak like someone who already knows the outcome. Because when your self-talk shifts, your entire life shifts with it. Your emotions were never meant to be your master. They were meant to be your messengers. Yet too often, people become prisoners to their emotional state. One moment of frustration turns into a ruined day. One wave of fear turns into a paralyzed decision. One spark of anger turns into damage that takes years to undo. But here's what separates those who succeed and thrive from those who stay stuck in cycles of pain and regret: emotional mastery. The ability to feel the emotion, understand it, and then choose a response that aligns with who you truly want to be. Not who the emotion is tempting you to become in that heated moment. You're not here to suppress your emotions. That's not power. That's denial. You're here to direct them. That means recognizing that emotions are energy in motion. They're signals, not commands. They are like weather systems in the sky of your mind. Real, sometimes intense, but always temporary. The difference between someone who lives in reaction and someone who lives in creation is how they handle that weather. Do they get swept away by the storm? Or do they rise above the clouds and steer the ship with intention? You don't rise to your highest self by allowing your lowest moments to define you. You rise when you pause, just long enough to choose. In that pause, you gain power. In that space between stimulus and response lies your freedom. Emotional mastery begins with emotional awareness. It means knowing your triggers, not judging them, but studying them. What sets you off? What makes you retreat? What patterns keep repeating? Every emotion is connected to a belief. Every outburst, shutdown, or overreaction is rooted in something deeper. A fear of loss, a sense of rejection, a story you've been carrying since childhood. When you bring awareness to that story, when you recognize the emotion of a script that you've outgrown, you can begin to rewrite it. You can feel anger rise and say, this is that old part of me that used to feel invisible. You can feel jealousy surface and say, this is the part of me that was taught love is scarce. And once you see it, really see it, you are no longer under its spell. You become the observer, not the reactor. You take back the wheel. True strength is not how loud you are when you're angry. It's how composed you stay when every part of you wants to explode. It's how you lead yourself through chaos without creating more of it. Emotional control isn't about being robotic. It's about being responsible. It's about choosing your impact. Because every time you react without thinking, you give your power away. But every time you respond with clarity, you build character. And over time, that character becomes your reputation. It becomes your influence. It becomes your legacy. To master your emotions, you must master your physiology. Emotions live in the body. Anxiety isn't just a thought. It's a tightening in the chest. Anger isn't just a word. It's a surge of heat, a clenched jaw, a racing pulse. If you want to shift your emotional state, start with your body. Breathe deeply, move intentionally, stand tall, stretch, shake the tension out of your shoulders. When you shift your body, you send a new signal to your brain. You interrupt to remind yourself that you're not stuck. You're in control. Language is another tool of emotional transformation. What you label your emotions determines how you experience them. There's a world of difference between I'm furious and I'm a little irritated. One escalates, the other diffuses. One locks you into rage, the other gives you room to breathe. Start naming your emotions more precisely and gently. Instead of saying, I'm anxious, try, I'm feeling a little uncertain. Instead of, I'm depressed, try, I'm feeling emotionally low today. These shifts aren't about downplaying pain. They're about creating space for empowerment. The truth is, you don't get to choose what emotions show up. Life will throw things at you, disappointment, betrayal, rejection. That's part of the deal. But what you do with those emotions, that's entirely up to you. You can use them as fuel. You can turn pain into wisdom. You can turn frustration into fire. You can turn fear into focus. It's all about interpretation. It's about what you decide those emotions mean. When you shift the meaning, you shift your behavior. And when you shift your behavior, your life starts to transform from the inside out. Emotional mastery is not about perfection. It's about progress. It's the daily choice to return to your center, to rise above the chaos, to act, not react, to lead yourself through every storm life brings with grace, certainty, and power. When your emotions no longer dictate your destiny, that's when you become truly unstoppable. Your environment is either pushing you forward or pulling you back. There is no neutral ground. It's shaping your mindset every second you're in it, whether you're aware of it or not. The people you surround yourself with, the conversations you engage in, the energy in your home, your workspace, your digital space. It all sends messages to your subconscious about who you are, what you're capable of, and what you deserve. If you are trying to reprogram your mind for success, but you're surrounded by chaos, clutter, and negativity, you are running uphill with a weight tied around your waist. You can have all the motivation in the world, but if your environment is filled with noise, distraction, and disempowerment, it will drain your focus and weaken your momentum. Every champion, every leader, every high performer understands one truth: success is not just a product of what you do. It's a product of where you do it and who you do it around. Your mind craves clarity, order, and stimulation that fuels progress. If you're living or working in an environment that constantly bombards you with stress, clutter, or toxic energy, it's programming your nervous system to stay in survival mode rather than growth mode. You can't thrive in an environment that trains you to shrink. You can't evolve in a space that keeps reminding you of old patterns. Start by cleaning your physical space. Your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. When you declutter your room, your office, your home, you're sending to your brain that you're making room for something new. You're telling yourself, I'm creating a space for growth. Clean out the drawers. Throw away what no longer serves you. Surround yourself with things that spark creativity and focus. A tidy space breeds a focused mind. A calm atmosphere invites clear thinking. The small shifts, light, scent, organization, create massive internal alignment. But it doesn't stop with your physical environment. Your social environment is even more powerful. The people in your life either add to your vision or subtract from it. They either inspire you to expand or remind you of your limits. Take inventory of the people around you. Do they believe in your potential, or do they constantly highlight your flaws? Do they speak about dreams, progress, solutions, or do they complain, gossip, and dwell in problems? Energy is contagious. If you're around people who live in fear, blame, and scarcity, you will absorb that energy unless you consciously protect your mindset. That protection starts with boundaries. It starts with intentionally choosing to invest your time with people who elevate your standards, not lower them. Now turn to your digital environment. Most people are addicted to information, but starving for wisdom. They scroll endlessly, comparing their behind the scenes to everyone else's highlight reels, drowning their self-worth in noise. What you consume online is either programming you for focus and empowerment or feeding anxiety and distraction. Unfollow what doesn't serve your growth. Mute the noise. Subscribe to content that fuels your purpose, podcasts that challenge your thinking, videos that spark belief, pages that keep you aligned with your goals. Every click is a vote for the kind of mind you're building. Create sacred spaces in your day where your environment is designed to serve one purpose only: growth. Maybe it's a quiet morning corner for journaling. Maybe it's a playlist that gets you fired up before your workout. Maybe it's a nighttime ritual with candles and calm to wind down your system. You don't need a mansion or a perfect setup. You just need intentionality. When you make your environment reflect your goals feel more possible. And don't forget that your environment includes what you say out loud. Your words fill the air around you with meaning. Speak about your vision often. Declare your standards. Say out loud what you're becoming. Write it on your wall, on sticky notes, on your mirror. Let your surroundings echo your next level. Let everything around you remind you of where you're headed, not where you've been. Your environment is either shaping you by default or by design. The power lies in your hands. You don't have to tolerate spaces that drain you, distract you, or depress your spirit. You get to build spaces that energize you, align you, and call you higher. You get to choose who has access to your energy. You get to decide what voices fill your ears and what visuals shape your thoughts. When you align your environment with your values, your goals, and your identity, you eliminate friction. You remove resistance. You create a runway for momentum. And when momentum becomes your default, transformation becomes inevitable. Repetition is the language of a subconscious mind. What you do consistently, what you say to yourself daily, what you allow into your mind every single day, those are the things that shape who you become. Most people think change comes from one big moment, one breakthrough, one surge of motivation. But lasting transformation doesn't happen in the moment of hype. It happens in the rituals. It's not what you do once that shapes your identity. It's what you repeat. Repetition isn't boring. It's how the brain learns. It's how the mind reprograms itself. If you want to build confidence, resilience, and a success-driven mindset, you have to train your brain like an athlete trains their body consistently, intentionally, and with intensity. Think about the way we learn a skill. At first, it's uncomfortable. You're not good at it. Your brain resists. But with time and repetition, what was once hard becomes automatic. This is how habits are built. This is how beliefs are wired in. This is how confidence is forged, by doing the uncomfortable thing again and again until it becomes natural. If you want to become mentally unstoppable, you can't rely on motivation. You need rituals. You need systems. You need a standard of discipline that doesn't disappear when you're tired, bored, or discouraged. Because your future doesn't care how you feel today. It cares what you do repeatedly. Success is not about intensity, it's about consistency. You could go all out for a week, but if you stop, nothing changes. You could make big declarations, but if you don't back them up with repeated action, they're just empty words. Repetition builds identity. Every time you show up for yourself, every time you follow through, even when you don't feel like it, you're telling your brain, this is who I am now. And the more often you send that signal, the more deeply your subconscious accepts it as truth. It stops being something you're trying to do and starts being someone you are. Affirmations, visualizations, daily goals. These are not cheesy tricks. These are neurological tools. Repeating empowering phrases programs your self-image. Saying, I am focused, I am powerful, I am unstoppable, over and over again may sound silly at first, but science proves that repetition carves neural pathways. You're building a new identity. You're speaking to your subconscious, which is always listening. You're replacing the old story, the one of self-doubt, fear, and limitation, with a new one rooted in strength, belief, and direction. But it's not just about what you say, it's about what you do. What actions are you repeating? Are you waking up and hitting snooze, or are you rising early to dominate your morning? Are you scrolling mindlessly? Or are you feeding your mind with content that inspires you? Are you avoiding the hard things, or are you facing them head on again and again until they no longer scare you? Repetition of the right actions creates mastery. And when you repeat excellence enough times, it becomes your default mode. Reprogramming your mind also requires repeating your why. Every day, you need to remind yourself why you started, why you refuse to settle, why you're chasing growth. Because the world will try to distract you. People will try to pull you into mediocrity. Life will throw resistance your way. And if you don't have your why burning bright in your mind, you'll forget. You'll slow down. You'll quit. But if every day you wake up and repeat your mission to yourself, you'll reignite that fire before the world has a chance to put it out. Think of your mindset like a muscle. If you don't use it, it weakens. If you don't challenge it, it stays small. But when you exercise it every day with repetition, with new thoughts, new standards, new habits, it grows stronger. You become more unshakable, more focused, more driven. It's not magic, it's just mechanics. You are wiring in your future one repeated thought, one repeated action, one repeated choice at a time. Too many people stop right before the repetition turns into transformation. They do it for a week and say it's not working. But change is happening behind the scenes. Just like a seed under the soil, repetition builds roots before it breaks through the surface. And if you stick with it, if you stay consistent, the results won't just show up, they'll multiply. Repetition is the secret behind every great leader, athlete, visionary, and creator. They didn't just show up once. They showed up again and again. They repeated excellence until it became automatic. They repeated greatness until it became inevitable. The power of visualization is one of the most underutilized tools in personal transformation. Most people walk through reacting to circumstances instead of creating them, simply because they haven't trained their minds to see what they want before it becomes reality. Visualization isn't wishful thinking. It's mental rehearsal. It's the blueprint that tells your subconscious what to build. When you close your eyes and vividly imagine yourself succeeding, thriving, rising, you're not just playing pretend. You're activating the neural pathways that make that outcome more achievable. You're giving your mind a target, and the mind loves targets. It craves direction. Without vision, it drifts. With vision, it accelerates. Elite athletes, world-class performers, CEOs, they all use visualization not as an accessory, but as a necessity. Before the race, before the performance, before the speech, they've already won in their minds. They've already felt the moment, seen the success, felt the emotion, heard the crowd, smelled the sweat, the air, the environment of victory, because the mind doesn't fully distinguish between something vividly imagined and something real. That's the power. You can create mental experiences so rich, so detailed, that your body starts to believe it's already happened. And once it believes it, it starts to act like it. That's how confidence is born. Not from results, but from rehearsals. When you visualize your future self every single day, how they speak, how they walk, how they think, how they handle stress, you start to train your identity to rise. You stop showing up like the person you've been and start behaving like the person you're becoming. That's not fake it till you make it. That's train it until it's true. When you begin each day with a vivid vision of who you are becoming, you program your mind with purpose. Your energy follows that image. Your decisions align with it. Your discipline is no longer about force. It becomes automatic because you've already lived the outcome in your imagination. This is not about fantasy. It's about clarity. Visualization sharpens your focus. When you have a crystal clear image of your goals, you start seeing opportunities you would have missed before. Your reticular activating system, the filter in your brain, starts scanning for the things that align with your vision. You start noticing the right people, the right books, the right connections. You have a screwed life, the right choices. You're no longer living by chance, you're living by design. And when you keep that image alive in your mind daily, it becomes magnetic. You're drawn to it, pulled by it. And that pull keeps you going even on the days motivation disappears. But you have to go beyond vague ideas. Don't just say, I want success. Define it. Visualize what your day looks like when you've achieved it. What time are you waking up? What does your routine feel like? What kind of impact are you making? What car are you driving? What city are you living in? What kind of conversations are you having? The more detail, the more power. And when you involve emotion, when you feel the pride, the joy, the certainty, that's when the subconscious locks it in. Emotion is the glue that makes the vision stick. The key is consistency. One visualization session won't shift your mindset, but doing it daily, that's how you rewire your brain, morning and night, before your day begins and before it ends. Visualize not just the big picture, but the steps, the wins, the breakthroughs, the version of you who hard things without hesitation. See yourself crushing your goals, navigating conflict with calm, speaking with authority, acting with power. That repeated exposure to the image of your best self builds the identity you need to match it. When doubts creep in, and they will, you combat them with vision. When fear rises, you counter it with future certainty. Your vision becomes your shield, your fuel, your compass. Most people quit because they're staring at the obstacles. Visionaries rise because they keep their eyes on the outcome. Your mind moves toward what it sees most vividly. So choose what you give it. Don't feed it the worst case scenario. Feed it your ultimate future, your dream life, your highest self. Visualization is free. It's accessible. And yet most people won't use it. Not because it doesn't work, but because it requires intentionality. But if you're willing to spend just 10 minutes a day vividly stepping into your future, you're already ahead of 99% of the world, because most are busy reacting. You, on the other hand, are preparing. You're building the future twice. First in your mind, then in the world.